Hello friends, and welcome to a brand new camera comparison between the Samsung Galaxy A54 and its predecessor, the A53. Right now we are recording at 4K at 30 frames per second. Tell me in the comment section below which one do you think has a better audio and which one has better colors and better stabilization.
Beginning with a set of sample images captured using the main cameras, and as per usual, all daylight pictures were taken using the auto mode with scene optimizer enabled. Upon analyzing these initial samples, it is immediately evident that they display a remarkable resemblance in terms of color reproduction and dynamic range. Nonetheless, it is important to note that this is not true for every scene. In the present scenario, for instance, the newer A54 appears to have captured more intricate details when compared to its predecessor. Upon closer inspection, one can observe that the A54 produces highly defined images while the A53's images appear slightly washed out. Several samples demonstrate a significant improvement in the A54 when compared to the A53. As an illustration, in this particular sample, the A54 produces brighter and more vibrant colors, which are more visually appealing. Although this may be a subjective opinion, I believe that the A54 outperforms its predecessor. All in all, when it comes to the main cameras, I believe that the A54 is a significant improvement in the right direction. Upon closer examination, it becomes evident that the enhancements are primarily in the areas of details and color, with the newer device producing more vivid and dynamic colors. It is worth noting that both devices also feature ultra-wide cameras, and once again, the A54 emerges as the superior device in terms of color reproduction and sharpness. On close examination of the building, it is evident that the A54 produces much more vibrant colors, which are not as striking on the A53. The A53, on the other hand, continues to produce images that are a bit darker, and as previously mentioned, the colors can appear washed out, particularly with objects further away. However, for the average user, these differences may not be significant, and considering that the A53 is less expensive, it still possesses good camera capabilities. As a tech reviewer, I am able to discern the disparities, and in my opinion, the A54 appears to have improved significantly in almost every scenario. In this particular instance, the newer device produces brighter, sharper, and more visually appealing colors. It is essential to mention that both phones lack telephoto cameras, which means that any zooming is achieved through digital means. At a 2x zoom level, the A54 continues to produce sharper, more detailed, and vibrant colors, while the A53 lacks in terms of details. For instance, when focusing on the painting, it becomes clear that the A54 captures more intricate details, while the A53 produces a flatter image. However, considering that digital zoom is being utilized, both devices produce acceptable results, with the A54 performing slightly better. On the other hand, both devices are equipped with macro cameras, and in this regard, they perform admirably. The objects in frame are highly defined, and although both cameras excel, I prefer the A54 since the entire leaf is in focus, while the edges are slightly blurred on the A53. While the colors produced by these cameras may not be as vibrant, this is acceptable, as these cameras are included mainly for numbers. Personally, I don't take macro pictures, but for those who do, the A54 is slightly better. Regarding portraits, while the cameras on both devices perform very well, it should be noted that they aren't at the level of flagship devices. The A54, as previously mentioned, produces a more aesthetically pleasing image, while the A53 fails to maintain accurate skin colors when compared to its successor. Interestingly, the A54 has done away with the depth sensor, which upon closer inspection, appears to have been ineffective in any case, as edge detection remains similar between the two devices. Turning our attention to the front cameras, in the first instance, I find that the A54 produces a more accurate representation of my skin color, despite my face appearing less sharp when compared to the A53. Conversely, in the next scenario, it is strange to note that the A53 performs better, producing a sharper image of both my face and the background. On the A54, the image appears softer and less defined, lacking the same level of visual appeal. In terms of video recording using their primary cameras, both devices perform exceptionally well. Thanks to the OIS sensors, both cameras excel at producing stable footage. While the A54 does offer slightly more vibrant colors, it's not necessarily a clear winner over the A53. The results are equally impressive when recording using their ultra-wide cameras, as both devices offer surprisingly good performance. It should be noted, however, that the level of stabilization seen in these comparisons is achieved by my steady hands, and real-life results may not be quite as stable. Transitioning to low-light photography, it's worth noting that every picture taken from here on was captured using night mode. Even in low-light conditions, the front cameras on both devices produced mixed results. For example, in one instance, the A53 produced a brighter image of my face, but the overall picture was over-sharpened, while the A54 produced a more natural-looking image. In another example, however, the A53 maintained its quality from earlier, while the A54's quality dropped. Upon closer inspection, it's clear that the A53 preserved most of the details of my face, while the A54 produced an image that appears too soft. With their main cameras in this case, there's no competition as the A54 outperforms the A53 significantly. It's possible that in some scenes the A53 can perform just as well as the A54 in terms of colors and sharpness. It really depends on the lighting conditions and the subject being captured. However, overall the A54 seems to have improved in many aspects. It seems like the A54's improved image processing is able to handle challenging lighting situations better than the A53. This could be due to advancements in hardware and software that allow for better noise reduction and dynamic range. Overall, it seems like the A54 offers better low-light performance than its predecessor. The results from the ultra-wide cameras are similar to the previous comparison, with the A54 performing slightly better and being more optimized than its predecessor, while the A53 is not as refined. In this particular case, the A53 and A54 produced similar results, with the latter being slightly brighter. However, this difference may not be significant enough to be noticeable for the average user. It's interesting to see how the differences between the devices are not always consistent across different scenes and situations. In this case, it seems like there are certain aspects of the images where the A54 performs better than the A53, while there are other areas where the A53 comes out on top. It just goes to show that when it comes to choosing between two similar devices, it's important to consider what factors are most important to you as an individual user. At 2x digital zoom, both hold their own even at low light. Honestly speaking, these pictures are very good and usable despite the fact that they are only mid-range devices. I was pleasantly surprised not only with the A54 but with the A53 as well. This just shows that having high megapixel main cameras is really convenient. The low-light portraits from both devices look good when there are plenty of light sources, like in this case. Both cameras perform well, but I prefer the A54 for its ability to handle the background better. The A53 is slightly overexposed, but overall it is still an acceptable shot. So, what do you think? Which device did you prefer? Personally, I lean towards the A54, but in most scenarios, the differences between the two were negligible. Even the A53 performed exceptionally well, and if I weren't a YouTuber, I would have been perfectly satisfied with its cameras. Share your thoughts in the comments section below, and if you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching, and for more content like this, please consider subscribing to my channel.